The first thing he noticed was the sound. Not the wind rattling the rusted metal of the abandoned satellite tower, not the distant highway hum echoing through the desert hills, but a low, broken sound that did not belong to any machine. It was human, strained and weak, drifting through the open concrete doorway like a ghost that refused to rest. Cole Marrow, a Hell's Angel who had spent most of his adult life outrunning pain, slowed his bike and felt something cold settle in his chest. He had come to the tower only to escape the heat of the road for a moment, never expecting that behind those crumbling walls he would find a woman locked in a cage, forgotten by the world, clinging to life. If you believe that kindness can still change lives, even in the darkest places, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel Only Kindness. Every second chance begins with someone choosing to care. The abandoned satellite tower stood alone on a stretch of sun-scorched land, its shadow long and sharp under the midday sky. Cole had ridden past it 100 times over the years, always telling himself it was just another relic of a forgotten project, a concrete skeleton rotting under the sun. That day, however, his instincts pulled him toward it. Maybe it was the way the air felt heavier, or the way the sound seemed to tug at something buried deep inside him. Cole was not a man known for curiosity or mercy. His reputation was built on scars, speed, and survival. Yet as he stepped inside, boots crunching over broken glass and dust, the heat gave way to a chilling stillness. The cage was hidden behind a collapsed wall, welded bars bent inward as if time itself had tried and failed to free what was inside. The woman crouched there like a shadow, her body thin, her skin pale under layers of dirt and dried sweat. Her hair, once dark, was tangled and uneven, hacked short in places as though someone had cut it without care. Her eyes were what stopped him. They were wide, hollow, and burning with something between fear and disbelief. She did not scream, she did not beg, she simply stared at him, as if trying to decide whether he was real or another cruel trick of her mind. Her name, he would later learn, was Mara Ellison. She had not always been a prisoner. Years earlier, she had been a bright engineering student, drawn to the promise of working on communication systems that connected people across impossible distances. The tower had once been part of her world, a place she visited during field research. When the funding dried up and the project was abandoned, she stayed longer than she should have, documenting equipment, trying to save her work. That was when the wrong people noticed her. Men who saw an isolated site, a smart woman, and an opportunity to disappear someone who knew too much about illegal signal tapping. They had been running through the old equipment. Cole did not know any of that yet. All he knew was that the cage door was padlocked, the metal rusted but strong, and that the woman inside looked like she had not seen daylight properly in a very long time. He felt anger rise in him, sharp and uncontrollable. He had seen cruelty before, dealt it and received it, but this was different. This was deliberate, slow destruction. He tore at the lock with his hands first, then with a wrench from his bike kit, the sound of metal screaming through the empty tower. When it finally snapped, the echo rang like a gunshot. Mara flinched as the door swung open, sunlight pouring into the cage for the first time in what felt like forever. She shielded her face, her body trembling as if freedom itself was something dangerous. Cole backed away, giving her space, unsure of how to bridge the distance between who he was and what she needed. He offered water, his hands rough and scarred, his movements careful despite his size. Watching her drink was painful. Each swallow looked like a battle, as though her body had forgotten how to accept kindness. Getting her out of the tower was not simple. Her legs were weak, her balance uncertain, and every step into the open air seemed to overwhelm her senses. The sun was bright, the sky too wide. Cole wrapped his jacket around her shoulders, the leather heavy and smelling of oil and road dust, grounding her in something solid. He lifted her onto his bike, steadying her as though she were something fragile he could not afford to drop. The ride to the nearest town took less than an hour, but it felt like a lifetime. Cole rode slower than he ever had, every bump sending a jolt of worry through him. He watched her reflection in the mirrors, afraid that if he looked away too long, she might disappear. At the small clinic, questions were asked, authorities called, and truths slowly uncovered. The shock rippled outward as people realized what had been happening in plain sight, hidden by neglect and indifference. Mara's recovery was not a straight line. Daylight frightened her, open spaces made her heart race. Even silence felt threatening after years of listening for footsteps that meant danger. Cole visited when he could, standing awkwardly at the edge of the room, unsure whether his presence helped or hurt. He brought small things from the outside world, a paperback novel, a cheap radio playing daytime music, reminders that life still moved forward. He never asked for gratitude. He never told his story. He simply showed up. As days turned into weeks, something shifted. Mara began to sit closer to the window. She started eating without being reminded. Her eyes slowly lost some of their constant fear. She learned that Cole was not the monster his patches and scars suggested, and he learned that strength could look like survival rather than aggression. The town talked, reporters came and went, and the story spread. A Hell's Angel biker finding a caged woman in an abandoned tower did not fit neatly into anyone's expectations. The men responsible were eventually arrested, their crimes exposed by the very records Mara had once tried to protect. Justice moved slowly, but it moved. For Mara, the tower would always be a scar on her memory, but it no longer defined her future. She began working with advocacy groups, helping locate other forgotten sites and warning about the dangers of abandoned infrastructure. She turned her pain into purpose, one careful step at a time. Cole watched from a distance as her life rebuilt itself. He never claimed credit, never sought praise. The rescue changed him too. The road felt different now, less like an escape and more like a path. He started carrying extra water, extra tools, stopping more often when something felt wrong. Kindness, he learned, did not make him weaker. It gave his strength direction. Just before the ending, take a second and comment below what part of this story stayed with you the most. Your words matter more than you know. On the day Mara returned to the tower site with officials to oversee its demolition, the sun was high, the sky clear, and the air full of dust and possibility. She stood steady this time, her shoulders squared, watching the concrete fall. Cole was there too, leaning against his bike, not as a savior, but as a witness. When the last wall crumbled, something inside both of them felt lighter. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that humanity can show up in unexpected ways, please like this video, share it, and let us know in the comments. Your engagement helps stories of kindness reach people who desperately need them. Sometimes all it takes is one person choosing to stop, to listen, and to act, to turn a forgotten place into the beginning of hope.